But the one thing that I said that I wouldn't do was work in the field of mental health. Why? Because, hey, mental health, I got that experience. I got that lived experience. It's mine, it's family, it's around me. I don't need to work there. And that was my plan that God laughed at, because here I be 16 plus years later. But the things that I learned was about showing up authentically as the whole of who I am, and every tool that I had in my social worker toolbox I used in this role.
Hello, and welcome everyone to another conversation in Kim's Coffee House Chat. I'm Kimberly Ewing, and today we continue talking about a topic that's affecting many of us nationally, and that is our emotional well-being in the workplace. You can find previous interviews on the National Empowerment Center YouTube channel, so make sure you check it out and take a listen. So today we are sharing my chat with Juliet Dorris-Williams from the Peer Center from Columbus, Ohio. We talk about how emotional CPR has affected so many peer recovery supporters, certified or not, and how this training has changed so many lives. Juliet describes emotional CPR to be magical when we allow ourselves to truly connect. So come with me to Kim's Coffee House Chat. Make sure to share and enjoy the conversation. So first of all, I'm just excited to have this one-on-one with you, because you and I have been we've been doing this for a minute, connecting all around emotional CPR. It's just been such a journey. So before we get rocking and rolling, do me a favor, Juliet, and can you tell these wonderful listeners that have joined us on Kim's Coffee House Chat, can you tell them who you are, your role with the Peer Center, and how long you've been doing this?
So, hey, and thanks for the invite to your coffee house. And I've had too much coffee already today, so no coffee for me. I will be drinking water, because when you know, it's like, okay, yep, enough of that. You are cut off, ma'am. So hi, I am Juliet Dorris-Williams. I am the executive director of the Peer Center, which is a drop-in recovery and wellness center located in Columbus, Ohio. I always shorten it by saying that we are peers for peers. So completely 100% operated by peers, peers being people with lived experience, long-term, extended recovery, mental health, addiction, trauma conditions. So completely 100% operated by us, us for us, and including myself. So I'm a person who lives with depression, anxiety. I'm a childhood and adult trauma survivor. So I have my own what I call war stories, as it were, with the team. And so there's counting me today, I think there's 31 of us today, and all of us in pieces and parts. Some of us have wear all the hats in terms of our lived experience, and some of us wear one or two, but all of us come together under that same umbrella of peers to do this important work. In Columbus, we operate in two locations on the east and west sides of town. We're open every day. It's a little commercial. Open every day for services.
I love that.
Every day, or open late, or open early, open late, including all holidays. And people can literally just walk through the door, drop in, and get individual, one-to-one, or group peer support. That's our main service is peer support. We have a variety of other things that go on to help people connect with others, but that is our number one engagement with folks. And so I am the executive director, and PEER for us is an acronym for peers enriching each other's recovery. So please all cap it when you write it, because otherwise it's annoying. And I'm also a licensed social worker. Got my social work degree at IUPUI, ma'am.
IUPUI.
IUPUI. So for people who don't know what that is, that's Indiana University, Purdue University at Indianapolis. So we've got that hometown girl connection there. I have been with the Peer Center since its inception, and so inception was January, sorry, December 2006. So it's been
Oh,
16 years and some months, almost going on 17 years.
wow.
So I've been here from the beginning. So I'm kind of like the Bible, Genesis in the beginning.
You
So
are the beginning.
I am the beginning. Yeah. So
But they call that the alpha, right?
the Alpha. Oh
The
my.
beginning.
Beginning. Hello. I am the first. My intention is to never be the last. And make way for new energy and new people that can take it farther than I ever could. That's in my future. But I'm the first executive director of the Peer Center. And it's been nothing but a joy and a privilege to have landed in this work. There's a story there. Somebody said it in our training the other day about, make a plan and God laughs. And it's like, yep. So, yep, that's all. That's my life. Make a plan. God laughed and said, ha ha ha. So, because I only intended to stay a year.
You
Yeah.
only intended to stay a year.
Oh, yeah.
So
That,
you came in
yep.
really just helping to form it, get it off the ground.
Exit stage left. Yep. That was my intention.
And
So,
so what were you going to do if you
don't
were
know.
going? You didn't know, you just said,
Didn't
"Hey, I'll
know.
just get it off
I
the ground."
I know this is something that I was looking for a job. The job I had previously, they basically eliminated my job, and so I was like, okay, I got to do something. I got to be somewhere. So saw this job. I might be a little overqualified for this job, but hey, I can do this for a year while I'm figuring out what else I can do with my life. And first of all, they lied about the qualifications for this job. I had no idea. I don't think they had an idea what all it meant to start something from scratch. It's like bake this cake from scratch. It's like, okay, I can do that.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then until you get into it, it's like, oh, okay, this is, whoa, okay. So a lot of learning, and I discovered some stuff about myself. One is I like building things from scratch. So I like figuring that out. It's kind of like one of these people that like gets lost so they can find their way to somewhere. I'm like terribly I'm directionally impaired, right? And so, but the best way for me to figure out where I'm going is to get lost. Get lost
I love it.
in there, and then I can figure it out. But they totally undersold, maybe oversold, undersold what that job would entail. And Juliet was like, "Oh, sure, I could do that. Get in there, get that done. Check, 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 check all the boxes, and figure out the next thing." And got in there, and it's like, huh, okay, well, maybe not this year.
Hmm.
And the next year came, maybe not this year. And I've had this will be the second, two jobs that I went in with that anticipation. I could do this for a little while. Then to have that job choose me.
Hmm.
Um, and so this has been nothing but privilege, my privilege, and to have to be chosen to do this work. And and hey, I would have never met you. So that
Isn't that something?
that's
I think
amazing.
you and I
So
would have met anyway, some
you
in
think
some weird way. I think
the
the universe,
universe?
the universe would have brought us together. Um, but it just sounds like as you talk about this, I mean, 16 years is nothing to sneeze at. And it just sounds like a an incredible journey.
It has been.
And I'm sure you've had some highs, you've had some lows,
Mhm.
because you just can't have 16 years without all of that. And just some moments that have changed people's lives because of your contributions and the contributions of your team. Um,
Changed my life, Kim.
tell me about that.
Changed my life.
How did it do that? Because clearly there's a reason why you continue to stay.
Why? Yeah. And so one of the things, and it's everything's always clear when you look back, right, in the retrospective view. I knew, first of all, the plan that I made that God laughed at was, as a social worker, I can do lots of things with social worker degree. With social work degree, you can work in lots of places and lots of arenas. It's very marketable degree. And so I availed myself of all the different things that I could do. But the one thing that I said that I wouldn't do was work in the field of mental health. Why? Because, hey, mental health, I got that experience. I got that lived experience. It's mine, it's family, it's around me. I don't need to work there. There's one thing that I don't need to be doing mental health in, and that's in my career. And
Mhm.
that was my plan that God laughed at, because here I be 16 plus years later, because it was never my intention to be in this arena. The universe conspired to meet me in that goal to never work in the mental health arena until it's like, okay, enough of that. So let's get you where you're supposed to be. But the things that I learned about myself was about showing up authentically as the whole of who I am. And every tool that I had in my social worker toolbox, I used in this role, as the leader of this little fledgling organization at the beginning, this little embryo of an organization, till full out freestanding nonprofit on its own. I learned so much about myself. I learned things I didn't know about myself. One, I like getting into the nuts and bolts of things. I like those kinds of things. And so that became the challenge, and the draw, even because it was interesting, right? But because life happens, and because sharing our stories is so important and so critical a thing in this arena. Um, when life happened, I didn't have to hide my struggle, that I could just show up and be authentic and be real. And even though I'm the leader, but I'm also a peer, right? I'm a person who's got all these challenges, and life happens, and I can share that. I mean, take off the hats and then put the hats back on, and just be real. And what an opportunity to be in a workplace where you can be real, that you can show up every day as yourself and be real and be accepted in a non-judgmental um, connection, because it's the mutuality of experience that makes this work magical. I'm going to use that word, magical. It is that mutuality of experience. And yeah, I'm showing up with my master's degree, and yeah, I'm the executive in this box in the table of organization, but I'm a human being. I'm a person. At the end of it all, I'm a person who struggles with depression, anxiety. I'm a childhood and adult trauma survivor, as I said before. And triggers happen. This is something that I say to the team a lot, about us being grounded in who we are. And because we never know when a trigger is going to walk through the door.
Yeah.
And we have to stay grounded, and we have to stay well, and keep our cups full, as it were, because we never know, because just the nature of our business means that if we're not okay, we're not going to be able to extend the hand of help to anybody else. And so what was always in me was that I was always going to be in the helping profession in some fashion or another. That's just this way I'm built. Um, but in this role, when you marry the social work and you marry the faith part, the mission, the mission and the life mission, for lack of a better term, because you want to serve, right? You want to contribute something that's useful, to society, meaningful. You want your work and your life to be meaningful. Um, and the way to do that is to serve. And so in this role, yes, I'm the leader, but I'm also the servant. So I lead, but I serve the people that are in my sphere of influence. And what a grand opportunity and a blessing it is to be able to walk alongside others and to encourage each other with our own journeys, our own stories, and um, our tips and tools for how we overcame, right? How we got from point A to point Z, how we got here, because it's the journey and how we are on the other side of that journey that becomes, in some cases, I want to say, spiritual food, for someone else's journey. We help each other in the sharing, in the showing up and the sharing. Just showing up is 90% of it, right? Just showing up and showing up as your whole self. And this job chose me, and thank God it did.
And thank God is it right there. I can't imagine the Peer Center without you.
Huh.
Can't I just can't. I mean clearly you have given it, some people like to call it it's so,
Hmm.
right? Before we, because a lot of stuff that you're saying when you talk about connecting, I'm going and I'm thinking about empowering,
Mhm.
I'm thinking about emotional CPR
Mhm.
along the way. But before we dive into that, what were you doing beforehand that kind of got you prepared to do what you're doing today? What do you think kind of helped set you up for this beautiful journey?
For this role at the Peer Center.
Mm-hmm.
So when before I moved to Ohio in 1996. Prior to my actually leaving the state, I was involved in, and I don't know, and you maybe could tell me, I don't even know if it exists anymore. It was Breaking Free. The name of the organization was Breaking Free Inc. And some years ago, it's a little bit of my adult trauma stuff, but years before that, I wandered through, picked up, there was a table, you know how you do in conferences, you're wandering through the table displays, you pick up things and you sign up for things, and you're like, you put your names on these lists, and it's like, I don't know. And so and then of course you go home and you put that bag somewhere and you never look at that stuff anymore. Well,
That describes almost everybody's experience with the conference.
yep, yep. This is, you never look at that stuff
It's
anymore.
gonna make me go back to all my bags now.
You see, this is it's I don't know.
Oh boy,
So
that's so
so
funny.
this particular, I put my name on this one list, and it was a organization at the time that I became involved with them. They provided support services to victims of domestic violence. And so I was on this list. And
Mm-hmm.
so one day, out of the blue, the executive director, who I didn't know was the executive director at the time, but she called me. She said, so her name was Ruth. And she said, Juliet, hi. Um, we had you down on this list that you were interested in our support groups. And I just wanted you to know it's going to snow and we're not going to have the group. So I didn't want you showing up and we weren't there because of the weather. I'm like, okay, well, one, you were not on my mind. And thank you, because I don't even remember my name on the list, but thank you for your call. And someone's like, well, that was weird. And so, but come, she's like, we'll be there next week. So it's like, okay, sure. Did I go next week? Of course not. And so several weeks went by again. Ruth called again, second time.
She's no quitter.
She's no quitter. Juliet, just wanted you to know that for reasons, I don't know why she was calling the second time, but now I'm paying attention. It's like, what is happening? And it's like, okay, maybe I just need to get myself over here to this group. So long story short, I eventually made my way to the group. And the first couple times out, free support groups that they were doing in Indianapolis, all around town, free. It's like, that's amazing. One, now that I think about it, that's amazing that they were doing these free support groups wherever they were. And this particular group was meeting in the basement of St. Vincent's Hospital.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm like, okay. So I eventually made my way to the group. I went the first time. I was the only Black person there. So it was like, oh my God, no. I just, no. This is not going to work. It's not going to work.
I'm by myself.
By myself. I said, and my girlfriend said, go again and just try. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go again. So I went there again and I was still the only Black person there, but it was like, oh, okay. So a little bit of something, right? That second time, a little bit of connection. And so for every Thursday night for weeks, I went to that because it was like a lifeline. And it just that little niggle of connection that I felt with those women. Yeah, we're all different and obviously different races. Yeah. And but our life experience, our lived experience was the same. And we were, spread out all over the city and different and around and surrounding. But we all came together in this one room in the basement of St. Vincent's Hospital for this free little support group. It was healing. It was nothing short of healing. And I came for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then the volunteer facilitator said, hey, y'all, I'm going to leave. I'm going to do something else for a while, but I need one of y'all to take over the group. And I cross my arms because I just got here. I'm new. Right. And so I'm new and nobody's looking at me. And because I'm new here and I'm like, I just got here. And said, of course, nobody stepped up until she tapped me on the shoulder one night. She said, Juliet, I think you could do this. I'm like, no, you don't. First of all, I'm new and I just got here and I'm still feeling broken and all the things. And I'm not, nope. And so she said, I think you can do it. And so not only did she not leave me alone, but she got Ruth back on the case. Ruth, executive director, say, Juliet. I'm like, stop calling me, lady. It's just like, so we understand that you maybe could think about, facilitating this group. And I'm like, Ruth, I'm new. I just got here. I don't think I'm well enough to do this work. And she said, Juliet, you can do this and we will help. And so because I'm me and I apparently got this something in my brain that says, just jump in where, because somebody needs something that I can be maybe helpful in there. It's like, okay, I'm not sure about me, but I'm trusting in y'all's belief in me because right now I'm not feeling all that, but okay, I'll try. I said, I'll try. And just my willingness to try, to step into that space where I was feeling all ill-equipped for was miraculous because magic happened. Spirit showed up, God showed up, universe showed up. And I was like, wow. I was even amazed at all the things that were happening, all the wonderful connection and healing that was happening. And my philosophy is when you speak it out, you give it out, you're teaching it out, you're also hearing it. you're hearing it yourself. So it's a boomerang effect. So I know what the other folks were getting, but I was getting a double portion because I was having to sort of shepherd folks through the process. And so I was even doubly blessed by that experience. And it's from that experience to the present day is that experience is when I knew the power of peers, the power of story.
Wow.
From that experience. And so I did that work, strictly volunteer, for 5 years, the 5 years immediately before I moved to Ohio. And so I carried that whole experience with me. And of course, I came to Ohio and I was doing all the other things. I wasn't doing anything related to domestic violence or any kind of trauma. I wasn't doing any of that. I was doing other things. And until this opportunity for the Peer Center, this job opportunity, this is why I said, oh, yeah, I could do that for a year because, oh, yeah, I did that. I know what this is. I know what
Right.
y'all are trying to do. And
Right.
so this is why I thought, yeah, I'll do that for a year.
That's just amazing. And what's so amazing is that you never know how you can speak life into someone and see something in someone that they may not even see in themselves
Right.
that could change so many people's lives. You just don't have a clue. And I, as you were sharing this to me, I just imagine like you being tossed in the pool
Tossed in the pool.
and without a life jacket and
Kind of a life jacket because they
kind
said,
of a
well,
life
we
jacket.
will help you, except they weren't in the room with me. So
Right. Okay, there you go.
they gave
Kind of
me
a little
they
life
gave me the
jacket.
tools and
Right.
kind of a life jacket.
Kind of.
I wasn't feeling the life jacket.
So
I was
they
feeling
they
like
threw you they threw you in pool with kind of a life
kind of a life
jacket
jacket.
and then say you got this and
You
then
got this.
you just started swimming
Just started
and
swimming.
and and people were like, all right,
People respond. And I was like, wow. I was impressed every day with what was happening in that space.
you grew.
And this is how I knew about the
Mm,
power of story,
mm.
the power of peers.
Ooh,
And there's so much power in that sharing and in that mutuality of experience. So
mm. Thank you for sharing that, and I'm hoping that um, this really speaks to somebody else that might be where you were at that time. Because a lot of times, what blocks us from moving forward and just seeing our own strengths is fear,
fear.
and and
Oh,
and
yes.
and just I get that though, and lack of confidence, and I get all of that because you're thinking, hey, like you kept on saying, I just got here. um but what a beautiful story, in that those people who really spoke life into you to say, we see that we really believe that you could do this. That, my gosh, look what you end up doing and end up accomplishing. um, this is amazing to me. So
It's a
thank
direct line.
you. Yeah, thank you for sharing your journey. So the other thing we wanted to talk about is the work that the National Empowerment Center has been doing with you around emotional CPR. Oh my.
Oh my.
I
I
mean, you, oh, I just, I don't know, we had probably about 4 or 5 trainings we did specifically, the introduction to emotional CPR. We literally train from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. with breaks and the whole thing, anywhere sometimes to 40, 50, 60 people at one time on a call and that was just incredible. And man, the classes got bigger and bigger and bigger, and we pilot that for you, customize that for you, and then they loved it so much that you all came back and said, We now want you to do the full 2-day training, where all of our people who go through this training, that they get the completion certificate. And because you just thought it was so important for them, to be able to do this beautiful practice. It's just amazing. This is amazing. So first of all, how did you learn about emotional CPR? Why did you choose this training?
So I've known about eCPR for a lot of years, and Dan Fisher, I'm
Mm-hmm.
familiar with him. He's familiar with all of us in Ohio, and so I've known about it for years, and have always been interested or curious. Not
Mm.
wasn't sure about interest yet, but I was curious about it, um, and I that curiosity just has just stayed with me over the years. And we have been so I'm of course familiar with the National Empowerment Center and all the important works and resources that is available through you guys. And so I was kind of like preparation and opportunity. So the opportunity presented itself. One, we obviously got some funding that we could support it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if, we're still on this trying to figure out who and what we are on this side of COVID, right? But COVID and the blossoming, I think, of virtual trainings as being a vehicle through which we could do a lot of things and touch a lot of lives this way. All the pieces and parts just came together to make it possible because all the things aligned.
Mm.
We had the funding, we knew the people. We actually did try initially. We tried to see if we could get our resident trainer, that's Gabe. Can you get like certified in this, and then maybe you could do it because this is his job. And so
Right.
as we kept researching, he's like, Julia, I don't know that I could in the time frame that it would take me to get certified for this. I don't know that that's doable. And I said, okay, what's another way that we can get this done? I mean, it doesn't have to be you. I think you're great, but it doesn't have to be you. So
Right.
how can we make this happen? And he said, oh, well, we could bring people to us. And I'm like, even better. And that's how we got you. That's how
Isn't
we
that
got you,
something?
Kim. And so we literally were just trying to be creative. How can we make this happen? We have the funding, we have the means of paying for it. How can we make it happen? And
Mm-hmm.
we had no idea that it would take off in the way that it did. We had no idea. So it's mostly, I mean, we do our own standard marketing stuff with our newsletters and our social
Mm-hmm.
media and all the things. But it's true to form for every marketing strategy that we've ever employed at the Peer Center. Word of mouth is the
It's
most
everything.
powerful tool that you can utilize. So if people are excited about it, they talk about it to others, and
Mm-hmm.
they get their people in, and they keep talking about it. Kim, every I'm out in community a lot because that's just, it's just what I do in my role. And when people invariably, somebody will say, let's all introduce yourselves, say who you are, where you're from. And so I tell people who I am, and I'm from the Peer Center. Every time I'm out in community and I introduce myself as somebody from the Peer Center, somebody will come up to me and talk to me about I went through the eCPR. I'm so grateful for it. I'm trying to get my team involved. And so everywhere I went, it tells its own story. It grew legs and did things all by itself just through word of mouth, other people talking about it. And so, and you I don't know if you know, but in our last training that I was grateful that I actually recovering from COVID, so I was at home and was able to do the 2-day training myself. People hitting me up, private messaging me, say, Juliet, I'm trying to get my coworker into this training. So
Hook
can
me
you
up.
help? Can you hook me up? Right. I'm like, well, first of all, I'm supposed to be in the training, not doing work right now. But nevertheless, let me check.
Oh
So I'm doing
God.
this side gig during breaks, like, uh, what's our waiting list look like? And so
Oh wow.
we have huge waiting lists for every single training, and it took on a life of its own. That speaks to the power of it.
Mm,
It's not
mm,
us talking about it. It's the people who've gone through it talking about it. And
mm,
it has touched people. It has done a marvelous thing. And we are so grateful that we were instrumental in bringing it to Ohio. And here's a hint: we want to bring more. So I'll be talking to you later about that. We want to do more because there's so many
yeah.
people that couldn't get in because the way the training is designed, especially the certification part,
Hmm.
is people need to practice. And those
Hmm.
those training sessions are by design smaller than those
Yes.
overview classes, and so people are hungry, and
Yeah.
we want to feed them. So
And I really just love your group. The peers are just amazing. Um, and you're right. We designed it where we're not just talking heads and just talking about slides. We want people to walk away and experience
right,
knowing what it's like
right,
to support it, try it on,
try it on, right.
right? Um, and that's been amazing for people to say that we provided a courageous space in these small groups to try on supporting someone as they share a crisis or a trauma. And it doesn't have to be real huge what a person is going to share. It could be that, hey, I locked my keys up in my car and I didn't know what to do and I was having a bad day. And what is it like to connect with somebody and with feelings first? Um and and many people have said, wow, just to do that
Yeah.
felt different because we're always in fix mode,
Yes. Yes.
right?
And just recognizing that that people aren't broken, right?
Mm,
And we don't have
absolutely.
to slap on our capes and, we're mighty peer supporter. We're going to fix it. We're going to solve it. And it's like, sometimes people just need the space to be heard.
Absolutely.
Safe space, creating safe space for heart to heart
Hmm.
dialogue.
Oh,
It's,
this emotional CPR.
it's amazing. It's
And
amazing. It's good medicine.
I'm up here trying to think how many people we have trained so far. I don't know if you've done the numbers yet,
We haven't yet.
but
So,
I know it might be two, three. I don't know what the number is because it's a lot of folks that we trained. Um, but what I do know is we gave an invitation for anybody who wanted to try this on.
yep.
Not one person said no. Not one person. And we give people options if they're feeling a little nervous, if they're like, oh, this is not a good time for me. I'm still going. But every person wanted to try it on. And everybody was really incredible to say, hey, I know people need to practice. So everybody volunteered to share something as well.
And they weren't
Um,
talking about I lost my keys
they
either.
weren't talking
So,
about a lost McKees. We had some
mm-mm,
really tough stuff.
we did.
We
We did.
real when we did real plays, which
Yeah.
was
Real place.
so yeah. And
Yeah.
and I love that they at least able to see what it looks like when we do a real play. So we show them what connection looks like, what empowerment looks like, what revitalization looks like, and that our trainers we too are willing
Yeah.
to be real and share and be authentic, so we
And
can enter that space.
And so our audience for all of our trainings has to do, our audience is peer recovery supporters, certified or
Mm,
not. Those are the folks that we target for these particular trainings. And it's important to me, and probably because I am responsible for this one peer recovery organization, but there are other peer recovery organizations around the state. But peer recovery supporters find themselves not just working in a peer recovery organization or a recovery community organization. That's what they're referred to on the addiction side of things. Um, they're finding themselves in hospitals, in jails, and all sorts of environments, and it only works if they remember how what they're there for, right?
mhm,
Because
mhm,
other environments, some of that is we might have to advocate for and help people to remember the environments that we find ourselves in. This is what I do. This is
mhm,
why I'm here. And this is how I can connect with
mhm,
the clients or participants or whatever we call people in that environment. It's important for them, for us to
mhm,
remember who we are, why we're here,
mhm.
and the ways in which we connect. And there's it's absolutely um I'm going to use that word again, magical, because it's not magic really when we're just talking heart to heart, but
Right.
but magic can happen, healing can happen, hope gets generated when we remember who we are, why we're
Mhm.
here, and um what um what our overall purpose is. So
Yeah, I love that too because so many people have said they said I can't explain it, but it seems like it is magical, and they describe it that way. And that's why it's so important as you were talking about that. Why we like to start the training with the cultural empathy slide, because we want to make sure that people know from the very beginning that we see you, and everyone matters, right?
everyone
Um,
matters.
and I don't know how many during the evaluations have shared how important that was for them, how important the land acknowledgments,
Yeah.
the labor acknowledgments, how important that was to them. And you know, Juliet, every conference I'm going to lately, it's all circling around cultural empathy,
Empathy. Yep. Yep.
right? And how to truly be trauma informed. This is we uh, have to know what it's like to have cultural empathy.
Yeah.
Um, and as an implicit bias trainer, this is something that's just so important to me and so important to so many other people as well. Um, we have one more. Now, I don't know when people are going to see this and it's going to be aired. So
Okay.
some people are going to watch this like, oh my God, maybe by then you'll have more trainings that you might want to support. I know you will. But we have one more training as we
Yeah.
are taping this live, and just so you all will have some context when you watch this, you won't go, "Oh, what's going on?" Um, Today it is September 25th, 2023. So we have one more training that we're going to do, and I know that's completely filled with
Yeah.
a really
Waiting
heavy
list. Hmm.
waiting list.
Hmm.
Um, but so we might end up having more trainings. I'm sure that's going to come down the pike. But I would love to know what has been the takeaway from you specifically, because um, you know, you said you had to be in this training, which was so unusual a lot of times because people that are in your position, as much as you want to do it, you don't have the time sometimes or the capacity as an executive director. You're trying to take care of everybody else. And it's not too often that we'll find people like you that say, I'm going to make this time. But what was the takeaway for you?
Well,
Why was it so important for you to be in this training?
I've I work I right now I'm fortunate enough to be working with a coach, a life coach. Um, and so because of my role, and because I come at the role from a from a servant place, um, that I know that I'm there to serve. Um, I am particularly susceptible to being that one that is giving out, pouring from that empty cup. I'm particularly susceptible to that. Just, give and give and give and give and give until you're like, okay, I need to call the therapist. I need an appointment with the counselor because I'm like running on like fumes, or I'm just, exhausted. And um, one of the things that I've been working on is self-preservation and nurturing, not to others, but to me. And one, just remembering and having it in the forefront that if I'm not good for myself, then I'm not good for anybody else. This is hard for me. I think this is for many of us in helping professions is that we don't know how to give to ourselves the things that we give to others. When I am as the leader of this organization, the expectation is that you show up, you show up and give and extend the hand of support, to anybody who walks through the door. But my responsibility to my team is that I remind them to, um, what are you doing for your self-care? What are you doing for your own wellness? What are you doing, right now for that? Because again, you cannot give what you do not have. And so what was important to me, one, to make sure that we're shoring up people's skills. So I know the E stands for emotional, but it also stands for empathy. That we're showing, that it's important for the team to shore up their skills,
Mm,
that they remember why they're here, that they show up with empathy, with humility, and that they are able to do the CPR part.
mhm,
Um, and so if I'm, directing people to go get these additional skills, then I need to do those same things. I'm not going to expect people to do some things that I'm also not willing to take the time to do. And so, while I might think, okay, yeah, I understand this, I've got this, I know what this is about. Do I really though?
mhm,
And have I ever put myself in their shoes,
mhm,
um, to to be in that learning space where I'm actually learning and practicing the skills that I'm asking them to learn and practice? And so I wanted to know what I was making them sign up for. So I'm so glad I did that. And I guess you mentioned that in the training, that it's so rare that, the actual leaders or the actual, producers of the training, that they put themselves in that teaching or that the student space.
mhm,
It's absolutely important that, for um, continuous growth, continuous quality improvement, that we also refresh, renew, and in sometimes hello, aha moments, that we put ourselves in the space of learning. Um, one of the tenets of recovery is, um, about always being teachable, right? And at the point that we decide that we are no longer teachable, we are no good for anybody.
mhm,
When we think we got all the answers, we're no good for anybody, especially not good for ourselves. That's actually the road to destruction when you think that you got it all and you know it all. So I wanted to put myself um, in the space of student because even though I grasped the whole concept of it, I was like, yeah, this is nuts and bolts stuff. I want to get in there and learn too and see for myself. And so I did. I
Yeah,
made
you
I made
did.
space. I made space. I made time
You did.
because it was
And that
important.
was just, to me, that was just so incredible that you allowed yourself to learn and you allowed yourself to be vulnerable. Let's be honest, right?
And I
Um,
had a not a I lost my keys story.
no,
I
you
had
didn't.
a no, I had a story that I actually hadn't shared with anybody so before. So yeah,
I love that you use that as an opportunity to have somebody to practice by saying, "Hey, I'm going to share a story with you." Because what we've learned is that when a person does that too, it's a win-win because it helps you. Because you were saying along the way, I don't think I've shared this, not like this.
not like
And
that.
I think you even shared a lot of first on this story. There was new stuff because
Yeah.
it was so powerful. And that the person who supported you got to really try on what it was like to be a supporter, to support you with connection, and to support you with empowerment and revitalization. It was just
And it wasn't even her lived experience, and that was the beauty of that. I was sharing
absolutely,
something that she's like, "Yep, I've never had that experience, but she did such a beautiful job." And
yeah,
so, but yeah, and so our opportunities to practice is kind of like,
yes,
riding the bike with training wheels.
yes.
We don't have these too often, and so I'm happy that I made the space and made the time
I'm
and
so glad too, because I've been to many trainings where they'll talk about it, but they don't give people a chance to try it on, and that's not
right.
what we do.
That's right.
We want people to walk away, each and every person to walk away, to feel empowered, that I just tried it on. And we don't see anybody to be a person that makes mistakes because we always tell people, you just trying it on, you're already successful. Um, and that's what I love about our approach too when doing this. Man, this is exciting. It opened up the door for us also to go to Ohio and to show up at the conference that you
Yes.
had. Um,
That was Ohio Pro. That wasn't us. We were there though. So we
well,
were
I'm
there.
saying
Yeah.
that you, yeah, but you know what I mean. I talk about Ohio
Ohio.
and
That's right.
right, Ohio, because that opened up the door for so many people to learn about emotional CPR. And it was for some of you that are watching this, that maybe you were at that conference with the Ohio Pro, Shira Collins and myself talked about youth ECPR and also emotional CPR, and people on the spot signed up.
Yeah, they did. They did. They
It was
did.
incredible. Yeah,
And so,
I
and so
love
for
it.
people who don't know, because they're not in Ohio, Ohio Pro is Ohio Peer Recovery Organizations. It's our statewide organization. And so we had a statewide recovery summit in August last month for us. And
Yeah.
it was massive and it was everything. It was everything. And yes, people signed up on the spot for ECPR once they went through your workshop. So
It was incredible, and Michael invited us to come out and do that. Yeah, so it's just wonderful. I love all the connections that is made as we have come together. So here's what I want to know before we say goodbye.
okay,
I would love uh, for you to share. I know that you're definitely going to be trying to do more trainings
yep,
moving forward.
yep, we're working on that.
Um, but for somebody that's listening to this, they're not really sure about what emotional CPR is. We invite you to go to our website. I think that'd be wonderful. Just Google emotional CPR, and you will find more about it. And you can also go to the National Empowerment Center as well. But what I would love to know is why this person that They don't really know much about it. Even they go to the website, they learn it a little bit. Like you said, your reading is different versus the experience. Why would I take this training?
So I'm going to take it a little bit, well, quite a lot outside of the realm of peer recovery supporters because I do think it has broader utility in whatever avenue people are finding themselves. I mean, maybe they're engineers, maybe they're we had a offline conversations about cardiologists. Maybe they're a cardiologist, maybe they're a doctor, nurse, whatever, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Maybe they work in a library or they run a donut shop. I don't know. Just whatever. Maybe they work at McDonald's even or some other like fast food restaurant. It has broad utility for whatever role you find yourself in. Maybe you're at home with your kids and trying to navigate all the things, being the household engineer of all the things that are happening at home. It has broad utility. I said in my debrief, and I might have put it on my evaluation, even though it was anonymous, and now you know who it's me. You'll know it's me. That it's hope for humanity,
Mm.
um, because if people are at all paying attention to where we are in September 2023, um, there's a lot of high energy. Um, People are angry, people are scared, people are in a high emotional place. Um, and that sometimes that comes off in ways that can be destructive to others or to ourselves or both. And
Mm.
so these skills, these conversations, I feel, give us, those of us who are interested in making a difference
Mm.
for the world that we find ourselves in right now, this is the training for you. This is information that you can use to take into wherever it is that you as a human find yourself interacting with another human. It is hope because it reminds us that we are human. We're human beings, all of us, and we're just, doing the best we can um, with whatever it is we have, and we don't have to fix each other. But maybe if we can have a heart-to-heart conversation with each other, absent all the labels, it's about what's in your heart. I think we can change the world. Kim, I do believe we can change the world if more people had the opportunity to experience this training. Um, Brene Brown, in the training, you showed us a lovely video from Brene Brown, and she's like my social worker superhero person.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
she has a quote that I say I use a lot, and she says, "People are hard to hate close up,"
Oh, yes.
and she says, move in. This is the way to move in because people are hard to hate close up.
Mm.
And so yeah, I'm going to be your word of mouth commercial about
You're doing a
ECDR.
good job already.
I'm gonna be that person because and oh my gosh, and you have organizations that are offering it for free. What?
Okay.
Come on, you ain't gotta pay for it, and you ain't gotta leave your house.
Okay.
So we're making it so easy for people
Absolutely.
to see it, to look at the world differently, and because we can look at each other differently if we can recognize and see the humanity in each other. And this is what this training did for me. That's what it meant for me when I was just
Mm.
curious about it and just
Yeah.
didn't have the means or the vehicle in which to bring it to get it myself and to
Yeah.
share it with others. And now I just that hope
Mm.
for humanity is the thing that I'm hoping to spread with my little part of the world and what I can do to make sure that more people get this stuff because they need it. We all need it.
Thank you, Juliet. Your words just speak to me. They warm me. And I used to always start off as I talked about emotional CPR, and the way I described it too, and it was the foundation of being a human for me. It was
Yes.
the foundation because
Yes.
this has changed my life so much that I'm not the same person anymore. I don't present myself the same in my personal relationships. I'm more open. I'm more in tune. I how I move and when I'm doing business and work, I'm different. How I serve on my boards is different. How I do the work that I do, from all my trainings, from implicit bias to bullying, harassment. There's so many different ones that I do. If you know emotional CPR, you'll say, what is different? And that's weaved in, right? Is for people to be seen. And I'm leading with my heart, right?
Yes.
Um, it's been
Yes.
a game changer, and you described it so beautifully. And I thank you. The National Empowerment Center thanks you. I know Ohio thanks you. And you've even brought in people from all over the country to come join and open your door. When you talk about an open door policy, wow, you're just amazing. You open the door for so many people because emotional CPR is global. We do this training all over the world.
And thank God. Mm.
Yeah. And you open that door to reach more people. Um, I just want to say thank you. Is there any more last words that you have for us today?
I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for one being you, because you're pretty magical yourself.
Oh,
And
thank you.
even though I'm from Indianapolis, I'm in Ohio, and but I'm so happy to know you. And so I just it's been amazing, and not it's way bigger than we anticipated it being. We were thinking really small, and it's done its thing.
Oof.
Yes, yes, and wow. And so
I was like, what's going on?
we're amazed, and we just hope to
Yeah.
be fortunate enough to get more of you and your team, and just grateful. We're grateful for you, and National Empowerment Center grateful for you too. Thank you. so,
Yeah, thank
so
you. And
yeah,
Gabe and Gary, it's been incredible. Gary, is so great to meet him in Ohio, and has been behind the scenes and helping on your
yep,
team. And then Gabe kept on calling. He said, Kim, he said, it's getting bigger and bigger. He said, I've never seen a training like this just take off like this.
yep, yep.
So,
So that tells
yeah,
us again that those big waiting lists, that just I'm knowing I'm doing the advocacy to
yeah,
get more. So you'll be hearing from us. So
awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining our coffee house chat with the incredible, wonderful, beautiful Juliet. Um, I appreciate you, my sister. You've been amazing, and thank you for your time. I appreciate you. And hey, everybody, we're going to have more coming in the future. So thank you for joining us. And until next time, we'll see you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.